Hey, what's up everyone? This is Snackbox. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Hope you're having an amazing day. And in this video, I want to talk about the latest content that got released into Raid Shadow Legends, which is the Grim Forest, one of the best content updates that we ever had. It is so well received by the player base. Pretty much everybody is happy about this new content. Obviously, there are always a few that are not that happy about new content because it means, you have to put in a little bit more time. But in general, the majority is so happy about this new game mode that we have in Raid. And I ask myself, why is that, right? What are the reasons for that? And we're going to highlight some of these things that Raid did really great with this new content. And trust me, there's a lot to unpack here. So let's take a look. First up, let's talk about the draft system. Now, Grim Forest has finally done something that Raid has been trying to implement for years, right? Champion diversity. If you play the late and end game in Raid, you know how it goes. You end up using the same champions over and over again. Titus, Trunda, you one-shot dungeons with Marius, and so on. So you keep using the same champions over and over again. Because most of the times there's one best way to do something, and that's about it. They tried to do a similar thing in Curse City, but the difference with Grim Forest and Curse City is that in Curse City you are, limited to a certain amount of champions that you can use, conditions that the game puts up for you. And the thing is that not everyone can enjoy this game mode because not everyone has, a lot of champions based on those conditions. So this is more of an end game content, right? Where players can engage that have a wide roster of champions. Now in Grim Forest, you can pretty much use the champions that you have. Obviously, your champion selection will also be limited, but you have more control over it because you choose the champions. Now the game's gonna obviously draft random champions out of those decks, but you're not limited to factions, affinity, and rarity. So everyone can enjoy this game mode. It doesn't matter if early, mid, late, end game player, if you're a spender, if you're not a spender, if you're free to play, it doesn't matter. Everyone can engage in this content. And that is a big, big plus. And the same thing goes for the content that we got before that, which was Faction Wars Hard. Faction Wars Hard is so hard that even end game players struggle with it to complete all the conditions and get Polara. And by the way, Polara isn't really worth it. Isn't really worth all the effort. But besides that, not everyone can do this, right? Not everyone can go in here and complete all the conditions without a problem because you're limited to factions, right? You're again limited. And this is another thing that Raid did really well with Grim Forest. It's not completely overtuned, right? It is not that difficult. It has some difficulty to it, but it's still on a level where you would say that that is something I can deal with. Doesn't matter if I'm mid or late game, I can still deal with this. And if you want to go for an extra challenge as a super endgame player, you can still go for this badge right here, right? So you can determine how difficult you want the end boss to be. So just a little side info, if you don't defeat the mini bosses, the end boss will have those mini bosses as minions pretty much in the battle. And if you defeat all 5 of them at the same time, you will get this badge right here. I don't know if there's a gift or something. If you complete this, if you get this badge, maybe you will get something. I have no idea. But, at the end of the day, if not, you have a badge that you can show off and flex on people. And by the way, this badge looks pretty awesome in my opinion. So yeah, if you're going for a challenge or if you want to go for a challenge, you can decide it for yourself if you want to try and make the end boss more difficult. And coming back to the champion diversity, like I said, we always end up using the same champions. And some of them I even used here in this deck, but you are kind of forced to use other champions as well, right? The game won't always draft a Marius for you. It won't always draft a Galathir for you. So sometimes you have to use a Lady Noelle instead, for example, right? Which gives you more motivation to build different champions, more champions, because you're not always gonna have the champions that you usually use. So it adds a lot more value to different champions, and you get a lot more diversity in gameplay. Now let's talk about the trade system and the leveling progress, the squad progress, which is an amazing system in my opinion. If I move myself out of the way, you can see right here all the stats that I have so far. I'm level 11 right now, and these are the cards that I got. You know, I got a couple of uncommon cards and legendary cards, one rare card, and these are the stats. So every time I level, I get additional stats, and this gives me a feel of a roguelike RPG where you get additional boni every time you level up. And this gives a whole new feeling to the game that I really appreciate. And the same thing counts for the curios that weaken the enemies, right? For example, this one decreases the enemy HP by 3, 5, and 10%. You can get it to rank 3, but you can buy only 7 out of here. No, it's 6 actually. You can only buy 6 out of the vendor. And there are 18 different ones in total, so pretty amazing. And as you can see here, theoretically, with those coins that I'm getting from fights and battles and bosses and so on, I can upgrade those. And as you can see, rank 1 costs the same amount as a rank 2. So this whole new system really reminds me of a roguelike run where every playthrough feels unique because you won't, always get the same curios, you won't always get the same cards. So maybe next time you will be more lucky and get, higher rarities on your cards, for example, and therefore your run will be much easier or better, right? So it's not always the same. And it keeps things exciting as you build new strategies with every run, right? And not only are the trade cards and the curios going to be different, also the whole map is going to be different the next rotation, right? So maybe this boss right here that I beat, and by the way, feel free to stop by and say hello. I'm going to be streaming as much as I can. I'll try to stream every day my Grim Forest progress. So yesterday I beat this boss on stream, and next rotation this boss might be on the complete opposite side of the map, right? The whole map is going to change next rotation, and it won't be the same experience as last time. So you know how all the other content felt dull at some point? Like you really get no excitement because it's the same thing over and over again with the same champions, the same runs, the same skills that you have to use at the exact same time to beat the stages. You won't have this thing with this content. And the rewards are perfectly balanced if you ask me. The currency acquisition is spot on. You don't get a crazy amount. You get just about enough, to buy a couple of things here and there. As you can see with this Grim Gold, you can buy these vendor chests, which contain artifacts. And it probably takes a while to save up enough to buy one of these, but they're also limited to one. I can already buy one curio. It's day 2, right? I mean, day 3. I played Grim Forest for 2 days. That's 60 energy, and we're going to talk about the energy as well in a second. And you can also buy these squad reshuffles, which is pretty amazing, because this one right here lets you replace champions in your deck, which is, amazing. If you pull a new champion or something, and you want to use that champion, or you forgot one champion, or you have someone in your deck that doesn't do anything for you, you can replace them with this right here. And you can replace up to 5 per squad reshuffle, and it only costs 500. Now it's limited to 5, so you can only buy it 5 times, but still, that means you can swap out 25 champions in total, which is a lot. But back to the rewards. So You get random chests just by moving around on empty spots. You also get ambushed sometimes. Then you have to beat some waves, get some extra rewards. For example, this one right here was a random chest, right, on an empty spot, basically, that just popped up. And it's really exciting every time you move around because you don't know what's going to happen. It just sprinkles in that extra bit of excitement during exploration, right? And it's always amazing to open chests, right? It's always nice to open chests. And you don't know if it's going to be a mimic or you're just going to get rewards, right? So it keeps the gameplay really fresh and engaging. But one feature that I was skeptical about was the empty spaces, right? Because there are many, many more empty spaces than there are actually, stages where you have to fight. And I think there's like only 150 fights, like 150 stages where you have to fight, and the rest are those empty spaces. But then again, it would be, a lot more time consuming if it wasn't that way, right? Imagine we would have to fight every single stage. That would take forever. So I like it like this now that I think more about it. I like it like this more than if it was the other way around. And that also means if you don't have a lot of time in one day, you can basically just unlock those footsteps, right? Because you will be able to complete the whole map basically in a month, which we're going to get to in a second as well. So basically you could unlock as many footsteps as you can. You don't really have to fight. You can use your energy just to unlock the footsteps and then fight the next day, basically, right? So that's also another strategy that you can use if you don't have a lot of time to do the fights. Just unlock the footsteps, basically. Just a small detail, but I figured it would help some people that are, busy sometimes and don't really have the time to put in here and complete all the stages. Now, speaking of that, you will have 30 days to complete the hard mode and the normal mode. And on both difficulties, you will have 400 stages, right? Or actually, it was 403 stages per difficulty, so it's 806. And we are getting, if you are playing the whole month, right, you will get 900 energy. That means we can skip 94 energy in total if you want to complete the whole, both difficulties, the whole map on both difficulties. That means you can skip up to 3 days, a little bit more than 3 days, but I would say 3 days is what 3 days of energy is what you can skip. If you skip more than that, you won't be able to, complete maybe normal or hard difficulty, but that's how it is. So unlike Cursed City, I think in Cursed City we have a little bit more time, like 5 days or something, or 6 days. Or in Doom Tower, we also have a lot more time than that. Here you can only skip 3 days, 94 energy. Just to touch on the difficulty again, if you hit a wall somewhere, I mean, so far it is a very solid progression so far, right? The first 2 days. But, as we go deeper into it, it definitely gets a little bit harder. I moved into I don't know if that's the red or orange area, but here it definitely got a little bit harder than in the green area. Then we also have the yellow area and so on. So if you struggle with this area, you can always, complete these stages here, level up, get more stats from trade cards, curios, and so on, and come back later stronger with better stats, and maybe then you are able to do this, which is an amazing system for everyone, basically, right? Because if you don't have the gear requirements to do these stages here that are more difficult, you can just level up in this content, inside of this content, get your stats up, and then come back. So overall, I really have to say Grim Forest is the best content by far that Raid has ever done. It is everything that Cursed City tried to be, everything where Cursed City failed. It is comparable to Doom Tower, but even better in my opinion. and a lot of your guys' opinions too, probably. And it's really standing out and gives a whole new vibe to Raid Shadow Legends. And there's a whole new feeling about this game that I really didn't have in a very long time. And I've been playing this game since 2019. That's 6 years. And I think the feeling that I'm talking about is really having fun. The combination of fresh mechanics, diverse gameplay, it just creates this new environment, which doesn't make you feel like you have to spend to participate in this content. But there is one downside, one thing that I don't like about this content, and it is that I'm limited to 30 energy and I can't play it as much as I want. I'm really waiting every day to play this content, and I'm so excited about it that I'm so impatient, but I want to save it up for you guys on a live stream, so that's why I haven't used my energy yet. So yeah, guys, I think we covered pretty much everything. I don't know if I missed anything, so let me know in the comments below. What do you guys think about this new content? I actually did a poll for my subscribers, and it was super positive. You know, most of you guys really said this content is great. And yeah, I don't really have much to add to it. If you have anything on your mind, let me know in the comments below, guys. Also, like this video if you enjoy my content, and also subscribe to the channel if you watch me on a regular basis. It really means a lot to me. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. The YouTube algorithm is going to suggest you a video that you might like right here, and see you in the next one.